Hi, and welcome to my starter course for speaking English. First, I just want to say well done for taking the first step to improve your English speaking skills. In this course, we will have 10 chapters that are divided into different topics to help you to speak in a basic manner. I will teach you words and phrases that you can use to kickstart your English speaking skills. I have also included a workbook which has exercises on each chapter so you can practice the words and phrases you have learned. Let's get started. Welcome to the first chapter of our speaking course for beginners. In this chapter, we are going to get down to the basics and look at ways to talk about yourself. Let's start by looking at 5 words and phrases that can be used when you introduce yourself. Our first word is introduce. To introduce yourself means to tell someone your name when you first meet them. An example is, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ashley. Number 2 is nice to meet you. This is a greeting that can be used when you meet a new person. It is a pleasant way of letting a person know that you are happy to meet them. We can say, nice to meet you, I'm Ashley. Number 3 is, how's it going? This is a very informal and relaxed way to ask someone, how are you? Example, hi Jane, how's it going? Next we have good evening. Good evening is a formal greeting that is used later in the day. Example, good evening, Ashley. The phrase good morning is used as a formal greeting in the mornings, good afternoon is used as a formal greeting in the afternoons, and good evening is used as a formal greeting later in the day or in the evening. Finally, we have good to see you. This is a greeting that you would use with someone you already know. Example, hi Jane, good to see you. When you meet someone for the first time, we must always remember that our body language is important too. So we should stand up if we are sitting down and greet someone because this is considered polite. We can also extend our arm to shake their hand. But remember, you should only do this if it is acceptable in your own culture. Let me give you an example of how I would introduce myself formally. Hi, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ashley. It's so nice to meet you. If I were going to introduce myself in a casual way, I would say, hey, my name is Ashley. How's it going? Now let's look at the phrases you can use to provide more information about yourself in English. Hi, my name is. For this phrase, you just need to fill in the missing space with your name. Example, hi, my name is Ashley. Or, hi, my name is Anna. 2. I'm from. For this phrase, you need to insert the name of your country. Example, I'm from South Africa or I'm from America. I live in. Depending on the conversation you are having, you might want someone to know which country you are from or which city you are from. For this phrase, we just need to mention the name of the city we live in. Example, I live in Johannesburg or I live in Chicago. I'm years old. This is a phrase used to let someone know your age. Example, I'm 27 years old. You simply need to insert your age into this phrase. And number 5 is, my birthday is on. Here you would need to insert the date of your birthday. Example, my birthday is on the 17th of May. In your free workbook, there is a section where you can complete the phrases, filling in your information. This way, you can see if you are using these phrases correctly. Let's get ready for chapter 2. The second chapter of our course is going to focus on the words and phrases that you can use to talk about your family. It is a quick chapter, but it is ideal for practicing English with the people around you and making small talk with others. Let's begin by looking at the vocabulary we can use as we speak about family. Our first word is dad. A dad is an informal word for father. In a sentence, we can say, my dad works very hard. Our second word is mom, which is an informal word for mother. We can simply say, I love to spend time with my mom. Our third word is grandmother. A grandmother is either your mom or dad's mother. In a sentence, we can say, I love to visit my grandmother during the weekends. Our fourth word is grandfather. Similarly to grandmother, a grandfather is the father of either your mom or your dad. In a sentence, we can say, I love to go fishing with my grandfather. Let's look at other words we can use to describe our families. We have the words brother and sister. A brother is a male sibling and a sister is a female sibling. Let's look at the phrases we can use to introduce our family members. We can begin by saying, this is my. If you're wanting to introduce your family member to someone else like a friend, you can say, this is my mom, this is my dad, this is my grandmother, and so on. If you would like to talk about your siblings or extended family, you can start by saying, I have. Example, I have a brother or I have a sister. We can also say, I have a brother and a sister, or I have two brothers, and so on. If we would like to talk about our relationships with our family members, we can say, I love my very much. Example, I love my mother very much, or I love my mom very much. And finally, we are going to look at the phrase to take care of. To take care of means to look after someone or to care for someone and give them what they need. Example, my mom takes care of my grandmother because she is not well. Let's look at an example that we can use to talk about our family members. This is my mom. My mom is very young and beautiful. We get along well with each other and we always spend time together. We go out for ice cream every Friday and we watch movies together every weekend. I love my mom very much. You can now complete the exercises in your workbook for Chapter 2. Let's get started with Chapter 3. In this chapter, we are going to focus on hobbies and interests. Let's begin with what is a hobby? A hobby is something that a person does in their free time for fun. Example, playing a sport or painting, drawing, and so on. It is something you enjoy doing and it makes you feel good. This lesson is going to focus on how you can speak about your hobbies and interests. Let's get started. Our first word is a goal. A goal is an aim or a purpose. It is something that you would like to achieve in the future. Example, my goal for the next year is to start my own business. Or, my goal is to improve my English speaking skills in the next 3 months. Our next word is practice. To practice means to do something regularly in order to improve or in order to get better. Example, I need to practice English every day if I want to speak fluently in the next 3 months. Our third word is join. To join means to become a member of something, like a club. Example, I would like to join the local basketball team soon, or I would like to join a book club. Our next word is club. A club is an organization where everyone has a common goal. Like a book club would have many people reading a book together and then meeting every week to discuss the book that they've read. Let's use the word club in a sentence. We can say, I am going to start an English speaking club for everyone who would like to improve their English speaking skills. Next we have the verb paint. To paint means to apply paint to a surface. Example, I need to paint the walls, or I want to paint a beautiful picture today. Let's look at the phrases we can use to talk about hobbies. Our first phrase is, my hobbies are. Here we would just need to insert 2 or more things that we like to do in our spare time. Example, my hobbies are reading and playing tennis. Our second phrase is I love to. This is a way to describe what you love to do. We need to complete the sentence. Example, I love to paint or I love to read. Our third phrase is my goals are. Here you can speak about what your long-term goals are or what your short-term goals are. A long-term goal is something that you would like to accomplish in a long period of time, like a year or 2 years. And a short-term goal is something that you would like to accomplish in a short period of time, like a month or 3 months, and so on. Example, we can say, my goals are to speak English fluently in the next 3 months. Or my long-term goal is to speak English like a native English speaker. And our final phrase for this chapter is, I practice every day, every week, every month, and so on. Here you would just need to fill in the missing word of whatever it is you practice. Example, I practice English pronunciation every day. And that brings us to the end of part 3 of our course. Please complete the workbook to the best of your ability and try to do every sentence. Don't be afraid of making a mistake. Let's get ready for chapter 4. In this chapter, we are going to focus on a more relaxed and everyday topic, and this topic is food and cooking. I chose this topic because it will give you a chance to sneak this into your everyday English conversations and allow you to practice with others. I personally speak about cooking and food all the time, especially when I ask my family what they would like to eat for supper or for the weekend, and you can do the same. An everyday topic like this allows you to converse with others in your home in English and naturally creates an English-speaking environment for you, which is exactly what you need in order to take your first steps towards English fluency. Let's start by looking at the words you can use to talk about food. Our first word is vegetable. Vegetable. A vegetable is a plant that is grown for food. Example, potatoes or carrots. In a sentence, we can say, I love to eat vegetables. Our second word is cook. This means to heat food and prepare it to eat. In a sentence, we can say, I am going to cook some soup for dinner. Our third word is meal. A meal is a time in a day in which food is eaten. We can say, I'm going to cook a full meal for my family. Our fourth word is rice. Rice is a type of grain that can be cooked and eaten. Example, I often eat rice with my meals. And our final word is delicious. This is a great way to describe food that tastes really good or really amazing. Example, I had a delicious breakfast with my mom. Our next word is chocolate. I love chocolate. So chocolate is a brown food made from cacao seeds and it is a sweet snack. Let's look at the phrases for this part. My favorite food is. Here you just need to add the name of the food that you like the most. Example, my favorite food is pizza. Next we have I like. And here you can add the names of the foods you like. Example, I like vegetables or I like pizza. Next we can say I don't like, and here you can add the names of the foods that you don't like. Example, I don't like vegetables or I don't like soup. The next one is the something is delicious. This is another way to describe food that tastes very good. Example, the soup is delicious. And our final phrase is I am going to cook or I am going to cook some. Example, I am going to cook a chicken tonight or I am going to cook some rice later. That's it for chapter 4 of our course today. Let's get started with chapter 5. Welcome to chapter 5 of our speaking course. In this chapter, we are going to look at a very important topic, and this is how to talk about and describe your hometown. Speaking about your hometown is a great way to communicate with and engage with native English speakers. It's a good way to speak about where you are from and provide a background on yourself. Let's begin by looking at the vocabulary you can use to describe your hometown. Our first word is capital. A capital refers to a city that is the center of government for a state or a country. In a sentence, we can say, Washington, D.C. is the capital of America. Our next word is change. Change means to become different. Example, my hometown has changed a lot in the last 5 years. This means that my hometown has become different in the last 5 years. Our next word is near. Near is used to describe a distance. It means that something is close or not far from. We can say, I live near the shopping mall. This means that I live close to the shopping mall. Our fourth word is hospital. A hospital is a large building that is used for medical care and to look after people who are sick. We can say, I had to go to the hospital when I broke my leg. Our final word is downtown. Downtown refers to the town or city center. Example, I want to go downtown to watch a movie. Let's look at some of the phrases that we can use when we talk about our hometown. Our first phrase is, I live near the. For this phrase, you should simply speak about something that is near your home. Example, I live near the shopping mall, or I live near the hospital. Our second phrase is, something is my hometown. Here you just need to insert the name of your hometown. Example, Washington, D.C. is my hometown, or Istanbul is my hometown. Our third phrase is, there is a in my hometown. This is a great phrase because you can use this phrase to talk about the amazing things that can be found in your hometown. Example, there is a zoo in my hometown, or there is a famous restaurant in my hometown. Our next phrase is, the capital of my country is, and this is really quite a simple phrase. Here you just need to insert the name of your country's capital. Example, the capital of my country is Washington, D.C. or the capital of my country is Beijing. And our final phrase for this chapter is, something is a big city or something is a small city. This phrase is used to describe your own city and whether it is a big city or a small city. Pretty simple, right? We can say, Beijing is a big city, or Paris is a small city. And that brings this chapter to an end. In this chapter, we looked at 5 new vocabulary words and 5 new phrases that you can use to talk about your hometown. Let's go to chapter 6. Welcome to chapter 6. In this chapter, we will look at the words and phrases that can be used to talk about people. Let's start by looking at the words we can use to describe people. Our first word is beautiful. Beautiful. This is a lovely adjective that can be used to describe someone very pretty or something very attractive. In a sentence, we can say, my sister is very beautiful. Our next word is tall. Let's say it together. Tall. This describes someone who has an above average height. In a simple sentence, we can say, he is very tall. Our third word is thin. Thin is a way of describing someone who is slender, or in simpler terms, someone who is not fat. We can say, my grandmother became very thin when she was ill, or my grandmother became very thin when she was sick. Our fourth word is short. Short is when something is not long or something is not tall. We can say, my mother is very short. This means that my mother is not tall. She is little. And our final word is dark. When something is dark, it is not light. Example, look at my hair. It is almost black. We can say, my hair is dark. Next, we are going to look at the phrases that can be used to describe a person. Our first phrase is simple. It is, he or she is very. Example, he or she is very tall. Please remember, it is not considered polite to refer to someone as fat. So we should avoid saying that he or she is fat or he or she is very fat. We should rather say heavy set for men and full figured for women. Example, he is a heavy set man or she is a full figured woman. Our second phrase is he looks very or she looks very. Example, she looks very beautiful or he looks very handsome. Just a quick tip here, we don't generally describe men as pretty or beautiful. You can, people will know what you are saying, but native English speakers generally don't do that. We would rather use the word handsome, and the word handsome cannot be used to describe a woman. So in a simple sentence, we can say, he looks very handsome. And our final phrase for this chapter is, something is very tall or something is very short. So remember, this is just a beginner lesson, so I've kept these phrases really simple. It's just a place for you to start describing people and how they look. This does bring us to the end of chapter 6, and in this chapter we looked at 5 words that can be used to describe people and 3 basic phrases that you can use to start describing people around you. Let's get started with chapter 7. Welcome to chapter 7. In this chapter, we are going to cover the words and phrases that can be used as you talk about people's personalities. Being able to describe people is an important skill, especially when you are in an English-speaking environment. It's a great way to comment on the things you like about other people or even the things that make you uncomfortable about other people. If you are wanting to really push your English skills, then there is a video on my channel where I teach 30 phrases that are used to describe people's personalities like a native speaker. Since this is just a beginner lesson, we are going to start by looking at some of the words that you can use to talk about personalities. Our first word is kind. Kind is used to describe someone who is very nice and generally sweet. They are nice to be around because they are caring. We can say, my mom is very kind. She is always willing to help those around her. Our second word is helpful. A helpful person is someone who is always willing to help others. Helpful people are usually kind too. Example, my sister is very helpful. She is always looking for ways to help my mom around the house. Our third word is strong. A strong person has physical strength. They have power and ability. We can say it takes a strong person to wake up at 5 a.m. every day to exercise. So it refers to physical strength and mental strength. Our fourth word is single. Single is a way of describing someone who is not in a relationship and is not married. We can say, my sister is single, but she would like to get married in the next 5 years. And our final word is funny. Funny is a person who usually makes other people laugh. Example, my dad is very funny. He always makes me laugh. Our phrases for this chapter will definitely answer the question, what is somebody like? When we want to know somebody and we want to know what they are like, we are asking about their personality. If they are kind, if they are helpful, if they are unkind or rude, and so on. The first phrase is, my something is very something. And this phrase is used to describe a family member like a mom, dad, brother, or sister. Example, my mom is very kind, or my brother is very funny. Our second phrase is, I have a personality. This phrase is used to describe our own personalities. Example, I have a helpful personality, or I have a funny personality. And our final phrase for this section is, I like people. This phrase is used to describe the type of people you like. So if you like kind people, you would say, I like kind people. Or if you like people who are funny, you can say, I like funny people. It's a very general term that is used to describe personalities that you like. This brings us to the end of this chapter. I hope you enjoyed this chapter and found the words and phrases useful. Let's get ready for chapter 8. In this chapter, we are going to look at a very common topic that can be used for everyday small talk. And this topic is the weather. People love to speak about the weather, especially when they aren't familiar with the people they are talking to, or rather they don't know these people very well. If you are in a business environment, then talking about the weather is a lovely way to communicate with your colleagues and co-workers. It's a good way to make a simple conversation with them. Let's look at 5 words that can be used to talk about the weather. Our first word is sunny. Sunny describes a sky with few or no clouds. It is when the sun is out and shining brightly. We can say, it is a lovely sunny day today. This means that today is a lovely day and the sun is out and shining brightly. Our second word is storm. A storm is extreme weather which includes wind and rain. Sometimes there may also be thunder and lightning. In a sentence, we can say, storms often bring cold weather. This means that the weather can become very cold after a storm. Our third word is wet. This means not dry, and it can mean rainy too. We can say everything gets wet after a heavy rain. Our next word is cloud. A cloud is a gray or white object in the sky that contains water. We can say it looks like it's going to rain today. There are storm clouds in the sky. And our final word is temperature. Temperature refers to the amount of heat and is usually measured in degrees. When it's a hot day, the temperature is high, and when it's a cold day, the temperature is low. We can say the temperature often drops at night. This means the temperature goes down at night. Before we look at the phrases we can use to talk about the weather, I'm going to teach you some adjectives that can be used to describe the weather too. Warm. Warm means that it is a pleasant day. It is hot, but not too hot. It is just the right amount of heat for you to feel comfortable. Example, I like to spend warm days at the beach. 2. Cold. Cold is used to describe when the temperature is low. Example, I was very cold last night. 3. Freezing. Freezing is used to speak about a very cold day. Example, today is a cold day. I am freezing. Snowy. Snowy is used to describe weather or days that are filled with snow. In a sentence, we can say, today is a snowy day. And our final adjective is rainy. Rainy is used to describe a day that is simply full of rain. Example, it looks like it is going to be a rainy day today. Let's look at the phrases that can be used to talk about the weather. Our first phrase is, today is a day. Here you would need to insert a word that best describes the type of weather for the day. Example, today is a sunny day, or today is a rainy day. Next we have, the temperature is today. Here we can simply mention the words high or low, depending on it being a hot day or a cold day. If it is a hot day, we can say the temperature is high today. And if it is a cold day, we can say the temperature is low today. Our third phrase is very simple and it goes, it is, and we fill in the missing word. We just need to insert a word describing the weather at the moment. Example, it is sunny or it is cloudy. And that brings us to the end of chapter 8. In this chapter, we looked at different words and phrases that we can use to talk about the weather. We also looked at some adjectives that can be used to describe the weather. We are starting to finish up our course and I hope you are ready for the final 2 chapters. Let's get started with chapter 9. This chapter will focus on small talk, and the topic of this chapter is the news. Let's get right into it and start with our first word. The first word is news. The news is information that is provided or reports that are made about recent events. Example, the news gave a report on the recent house break-ins in my area. Our second word is newspaper. A newspaper is a paper that is usually published daily or weekly with new information, advertisements, and so on. In a sentence, we can say, I read my local newspaper every morning. Our third word is national. National relates to a country. We can simply say, local news is far more interesting than national news. Our fourth word is online. Online simply means on the internet. Example, I learn English online, or I read the news online. And our final word for this chapter is politics. Politics refer to issues regarding the government. In a sentence, we can say, the news is full of politics recently. This is a really quick lesson because I'm going to explain the basics of the news. The phrases we can use to talk about the news are, I like to keep up to date with the news. So first, let's look at the phrase keep up to date. This means to stay informed or to have the latest information about something. For this phrase, we would insert the type of news that interests us the most. Example, I like to keep up to date with political news, or I like to keep up to date with financial news. Number 2, I read the newspaper. For this sentence, you can add how often you read the newspaper. If you read the newspaper once a week, you can say, I read the newspaper every week. Or if you read the newspaper every day, you can say, I read the newspaper every day. Or I read the newspaper daily. Number 3 is, I am interested in news. We can complete this phrase by simply adding whatever type of news we are interested in. Example, I am interested in financial news. This is news about money. Or we can say, I am interested in celebrity news, which is news about celebrities, or rather, famous people. Let's get ready for our 10th and final chapter of our beginner speaking course. Welcome to the final chapter of our course. In this chapter, we are going to focus on talking about the future. Now, many people think that when we are talking about the future, we are talking about things that are going to happen in the next 6 months or even the next year. But this is not really true. We can also be talking about the next hour or what we are going to do later in the day. If I say I am going to make dinner at 7 p.m. today and I will make vegetables for dinner, I am talking about the future. So let's start by looking at the words and phrases that can be used to talk about the future. Our first word is soon. Soon means in a short amount of time. If I say see you soon, this means that I will see you in a short amount of time. Another example is I am going to bed soon. This means that I will go to sleep in a short amount of time, or I will go to sleep shortly. Our second word is show. To show means to help someone see something. Example, I will show you the new restaurant tomorrow. This means that I will help you to see the new restaurant tomorrow. Our third word is later. Later means toward the end of a period of time. If I say, see you later, I am saying I will see you toward the end of the day. Our next word is appointment. This is a scheduled time to meet someone. If I make an appointment with the doctor and I are making time to meet at a specific time, like 5 p.m. Then we will make an appointment to meet at 5 p.m. And finally, we have the phrase, see you soon. This phrase is just another way of saying goodbye to someone in a really friendly way. Let's look at some of the other phrases that you can use to slip into your everyday English conversations as you talk about the future. I'd like to make an appointment with. This phrase is great if you are calling to make an appointment with someone, like a doctor or a client. We can say, I'd like to make an appointment with the doctor, or I'd like to make an appointment with Sarah from accounting. 2. The second phrase does not need to be completed, and this is a very commonly used phrase. This phrase is as soon as possible, or as a native speaker would say, ASAP. This phrase means as soon as you can, or at the earliest possible moment. If you needed to see someone urgently, you could say, I need to see you as soon as possible. The next phrase is, I'll see you, and here you can simply insert when you are going to see someone. Example, I'll see you later, or I'll see you soon. I'll see you tomorrow. If you want to specify a time you will see someone, then you can add at. So the sentence becomes, I'll see you at 7 a.m. or I'll see you at 5 p.m. This brings us to the end of our course on speaking for beginners. I hope you found this course interesting and helpful, and that it will help you to improve your English skills. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I will be posting many lessons to help you to improve your English and take your English skills to the next level. You are welcome to complete the work in your workbooks, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop me a message asking me. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because this is exactly how you will learn. Thank you for your time today, and congratulations on completing this course. This is Ashley Hale with Level Up English, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.